My name is Ashtray Bentley, and today I'm going to show you how to make emotional future-based music. I'm going to be using my song Dream Sequence as an example. I'll leave a link in the description so you can go check out the song in full. Now, one of the most important parts to this style of music is going to be the chord progression. And it's just going to be that 4-bar loop repeated. So right here, the intervals I'm using are minor third, major third, and perfect fifth. Now, a minor third is going to be 3 semitones up from the root note. A major third is going to be 4 semitones up from the root note. And a perfect fifth is always going to be 7 semitones from the root note. So right here, the first two chords are minor thirds and perfect fifths. And now the third chord is going to be a major third in a perfect fifth. The next chord is going to be a minor third and a major third. So some other popular intervals used in future bass are sevenths. So sevenths are going to be either 10 semitones from the root note or 11 semitones from the root note. So I'll show you real quick what that's going to sound like. You'll already kind of hopefully recognize the sound. It's used in future bass all the time. So since this is a minor chord, I'm going to use a minor seventh, which is going to be 10 semitones. This is a great sound, but for this specific song, I didn't really want it, so I didn't add any sevenths. So yeah, just use those intervals. The chord progression doesn't have to be too fancy or anything. As long as the chord progression resolves nicely, meaning it loops around and makes sense, it's going to sound great in the song. And all the other things that you add on top of it are going to create this whole picture of a emotional track. One more thing you can do with the chord progression to make it sound fuller is you can drop the root note down an octave. So right here, I'm not doing that, but in the song originally I am. So this is what it would sound like. Now don't drop the root note so low that you're sitting in sub frequencies, because you're going to want the bass to do that, not your chords. But just having a full, loud, low mid section is going to sound really good. So on to the next section. Other tools you're going to be using to make emotional future bass is going to be structural. So that's going to be a very theatrical build. Right here I'm using some very conventional build techniques. I have this clap just on a downbeat. Very simple. Using rhythm is a great way to sort of build tension, but also keeping it a little bit stripped back. There's not much drum going on besides that repetitive downbeat. So keeping those builds kind of stripped back will be good contrast for the drop that comes right after. What I'm also doing is I'm having this very simple bass line to kind of fill it out a little bit more, but again, it's not anything lower than 60 hertz. So you're going to want to leave that frequency range for the drop, because bass is a lot of energy and it's going to be better contrast when you keep it in the drop or later. Another thing I'm doing with the build here is I have a melody, and with that melody I'm using a vocal sample in granular synthesis. So using vocals is really important. I think there's some kind of psychology behind it that people just relate to vocals. Using vocal samples is a great way to add an emotional component to your song. Having a singer is also a really great thing you can do. So after you have all that, you have the drop. So here, again, I'm using vocal elements, and this is going to be the full range of sound. So this is going to be my lowest lows and my highest highs are going to be displayed here on the drop. Now with the drop, this is where you get to be creative and experiment, and that's what I love most about this genre of music, is a drop can be interpreted in whatever direction you want it to be. So this is where you get to have your most creative freedom and explore whatever you want to do. So it's really important to just have contrast, and that's going to up the emotional value of your tracks. Just keeping the quiet parts quiet and the loud parts really loud is going to be key to evoking emotion in your music. Hopefully this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.